A very warm welcome to all my dear CA Foundation students. Students, I have come up with a very unique way of revising the entire syllabus of business law. Now, you must be wondering, ma'am, what is so unique about your revision? Well, students, when you practice accounts, do you just read and say, yes, I know this, I know that? When you practice maths, do you just read the sum, read the problem, and say, yes, this is to be solved in these four steps? Do you do that? No. In fact, those subjects are MCQ, but even then you write and practice. So, if you write and practice accounts, if you write and practice maths, why don't you write and practice law? In fact, law is a theory writing subject. It's the only theory writing subject in your CA Foundation syllabus. So, when you write and practice the other subjects, why don't you write and practice law? So, I thought my students are very busy. They don't have time to write and practice on their own. So, why don't I get it done from them? So, students, here I am presenting a very, very unique way of revising your entire business law with me. This is a workbook, business law workbook for CA Foundation. If you want to download, you can click on the link which I have shared in the description box. If you don't have a printer, don't worry. You can purchase a copy of this workbook by following the link mentioned in the description box. So don't worry, I am there with you. If you want to download, take a printout on your own, yes, you can do that. Or if you want, I'll send the copy to you, don't worry. Now, what is the use of that workbook? We are going to revise in a write along manner. Write along with me. Write and practice, write and practice. That is our motto. Students, I have always stressed the fact and the importance of writing and practicing. See, you will see a difference after the first lecture. I am very sure you will comment and tell me, ma'am, this is the best way of revising law. I think we've made a very good choice by buying this workbook. Yes. So this is the workbook which I am going to discuss with you. Now, what are we going to write in this workbook? We are going to write all the key words, all the important points which you have to write in your answer. So what will be the advantage of this method? We will revise, we will write and revise. So when you write, a signal is going to your brain and your brain immediately registers what you write. When you read something written in your own handwriting, students, that has more impact than printed notes. After we finish all the revision lectures, you will come and tell me, ma'am, in the exam, everything was flowing like a movie. We could visually see all the pages of the workbook in front of our eyes, and ma'am, it was really wonderful. I'm very sure you're going to tell that to me. So students, we are going to revise everything in a write along revision manner. So you will write along with me. I have divided the entire revision into small, manageable, easy capsule kind of lectures. Okay, so you need to see just half an hour and your entire chapter will be revised with me. Yes, so on this note, let us begin with the first chapter, that is the nature of contract. See, the Indian Contract Act is the most important act of our syllabus. Maximum questions are asked from the Indian Contract Act. So let us begin today with the nature of contract. Now, I have divided the introduction into two parts. Okay. In the first part, we are going to discuss the essential elements of a valid contract, the types of contracts. Then I'm going to start discussing each element in detail. Okay. So what you will do is you will write along with me. Okay. I will go very slow. I will give you ample of time to write. I will even show the page again so that you don't miss out on anything. You will write along with me. Now, you are not only writing, but you're also preparing last minute revision notes. Wow, We are not only revising, but we are also preparing last minute revision notes. That's amazing. So, students, let us get started with the first unit, that is nature of contract. Now, I'm going to ask you questions, okay? Even though I can't hear you, but you will reply it. Maybe I'll sense your reply. Yes? So, the Indian Contract Act came into force on 1st September 1872. What is the date? 1st September 1872, and it is applicable to the whole of India. Earlier, this act was not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. But after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, what did I say? Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, I'm writing in short, 2019, all the acts apply to the whole of India, even Jammu and Kashmir. Earlier, Article 370 granted a special status, but that was scrapped in the year 2019. Now, in order to form a valid contract, what is the first thing that I require? I require an agreement. Do you know what is a contract? What is the equation of a contract? Contract is nothing but agreement plus enforceability. It means that to form a valid contract, there must be agreement. What is an agreement? Absolutely right. The equation itself is given here. Agreement is nothing but offer plus acceptance. Now, let's say, for example, X offered to sell his car to Y for rupees 5 lakhs. So X will give the car and Y will pay rupees 5 lakhs for it. Now X has offered his car, Y agrees to buy. This is nothing but an agreement. What is an agreement? How will you define it? Agreement is defined under section 2E. Okay, section 2 clause E of the Contract Act. How is it defined? Every promise, okay, and every set of promises. Even if it is one promise, it's an agreement. Even if there are more, it's an agreement. Forming consideration for each other. Now, X has promised to give his car to Y. This is nothing but consideration for Y. And Y has promised to give 5 lakhs to X. This is consideration for X. So each promise is forming consideration for each other. This is an agreement. Consideration very important. No consideration, no contract. So first I need an agreement. The second element is enforceability. Now, what is the meaning of enforceability? Enforceability means, yes, intention to sue, intention to file a case. If one party defaults, other party can take action. When all these elements they come together, it forms a contract. So what is the definition of contract? Contract is defined under section 2 clause H. An agreement. Okay, so first we need an agreement. Enforceable by law, okay, is a contract. So what is a contract? Agreement enforceable by law. Okay, can you tell me which are the agreements wherein we presume that there is intention to sue, intention to file a case? There is a presumption. Absolutely right, you're so right. In case of business or commercial transactions. In case of business or commercial transactions, we presume that there is intention to sue. If one party defaults, other party can take action. Like in this case, this is a business agreement. It's a commercial, it involves money. However, there is no presumption. In which case? Yes, in case of social or domestic agreements, we presume that parties don't intend to sue, it's just an agreement, it will never become a contract. Okay, how will you answer this question? They say that all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contract. Do you agree with this? What does it say? All contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. So, what will you write if this question is asked in the exam? You will write the definition of contract and the definition of agreement. So, what is a contract? Contract is nothing but agreement enforceable by law. So, yes, to form a valid contract, we need an agreement and also enforceability. But for agreement, is there any enforceability? No, there is no enforceability. That is why it is not a contract. So, since there is agreement and enforceability, it becomes a contract. So, contracts are agreements, they are first agreements. Then, when we add enforceability, it becomes a contract. So, the second thing which you will explain is something about enforceability. Because enforceability is something which distinguishes agreement from contract. Okay, so agreement is different from contract, or you can say contract is different from agreement only because of enforceability. So enforceability will be explained. Then you will mention something about social and domestic, business and commercial, that there is presumption, there is no presumption. This is just an agreement. Why? Because as there is no enforceability. So you will write something about social domestic. It's just an agreement because there's no enforceability. So enforceability distinguishes contract and agreement. Then lastly, you can also give examples of agreement and contract. Okay, you can give examples of agreement and contract. This much is sufficient for a 4-mark question. Did you see? Yes. So now you can pause the video, students, and ensure that you have written everything properly. Okay, I'll just scroll up. Just check. Have you completed the notes? Okay, you can always pause the video and write whatever I have written, so so that you know you don't miss out on anything. Students, I'll be very careful. I'll keep showing you whatever I write so that you don't miss out anything in your workbook. You can pause the video, write it, you can resume watching. Are you done? All right, that's amazing. So now let us proceed to the essential elements of a valid contract discussed under section 10. All these are essential elements which you can write in the exam in case a long answer is asked. The first is two parties. We are not going to by heart anything, we are going to understand everything very logically. How many parties required to enter into a contract? Two. You can't give the offer to yourself, right? So you need two parties, one who gives the offer and the other to whom the offer is given. The person who gives the offer is known as the offerer, and person to whom the offer is given is known as the offeree. Okay, you can't give the offer to yourself. Now tell me, students, recollect and tell me what is the equation of contract. Before we proceed, I want you to tell me the equation of contract. What is contract? Absolutely right. See, don't just see and say, ma'am, I know this, I know that. I know you know these things. But it is always better to write and practice. Contract is nothing but agreement plus enforceability. And can you tell me what is an agreement? Yes, students, what is an agreement? An agreement is, yes, offer plus acceptance. So, can I say that to make a valid contract, I need offer, I need acceptance, and I need enforceability? Yes. Can I say that offer is the first thing that I require? Only when I give the offer, other party will accept it, it will become a contract. So can I say that offer is the starting point of contract? Yes, offer is the starting point of contract. And this offer must be communicated. Yes, this offer must be communicated. Just like offer must be communicated, acceptance also must be communicated. Only then the other party will come to know that his offer has been accepted. What is the third element? Enforceability. Again, can you tell me what is the meaning of enforceability? Enforceability means intention to sue, intention to create legal relation. This is nothing but enforceability. Yes, this is nothing but enforceability. If one party defaults, other party can take action. Okay, so in default, we can sue, we can take action. Over here, what else will you write? Can you tell me the agreements wherein there is presumption that there is intention to sue? Yes, presumption. Although we have studied this, we will write it again. We are revising, we are writing, write along worksheets. Presumption in case of business or commercial, and there is no presumption in case of, what will we write? Tell me, what should we write? Very good. Social or domestic. There is no presumption in social or domestic. What is the meaning of social? It's between friends. Domestic, family. So now we got two parties. One gave the offer, other accepted, they were properly communicated, and we also added enforceability. Have we got a contract? No, there are many other elements which are remaining. There must be free consent. Now, consent means that parties must agree upon the same thing in the same sense. Do you want to buy this pen? You say yes. We are agreeing upon the same thing in the same sense. We have consented. It's a valid contract. But this consent must be free consent. Okay? So it must be free without forcing, it must be at your own wish. Consent is not free when it is caused by, yes, it is not free when it is caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake. What is coercion and influence? We'll discuss in Unit 3. But consent must be free. Do you remember the Latin phrase for consent? Should I ask you? If you said, ma'am, we know it, what is it? Correct. It is consensus ad idem. It means that parties must agree upon the same thing. So parties must agree upon the same thing in the same sense. Next, we have that these parties must be capable. Let us go on highlighting now. Free consent, intention, proper offer acceptance. Parties must be capable. Section 11. 11 is important for exam. Okay, can you tell me who are capable? If you say major person, if you say person of sound mind, and person who is not, disqualified, then your answer is absolutely right. Major, above 18, okay, above 18 years. Sound mind, he is someone who is rational. Who are disqualified? We have alien enemy, then foreign sovereigns, convict, and insolvent. They cannot enter into contract, yes? This is your answer. The next element is that there must be consideration. What is the meaning of consideration? Section 23. What is consideration? Absolutely right. You are so brilliant. Something in return. You're answering it along. You're writing it along with me. You're even answering. You're trying to recollect the concepts. This is the best choice that you have made for revising law. Do you remember the Latin phrase? Should I ask you the Latin phrase? Yes. Quid pro quo. Correct. This consideration must be lawful. Lawful means it is something which is accepted by law. Okay. Then we have that consideration. After consideration must be lawful, the object must be lawful. This is also discussed under section 23. Object must be lawful. What is the meaning of object? Object means the purpose for which we have entered into contract. That must be lawful. That must be something accepted by law. Okay, students, answer my question, okay? X offered to sell rice to Y for, let's say, 5,000 rupees bulk, okay? Is it lawful object, lawful consideration? Yes, it's a valid contract. X offers to sell drugs to Y for 5,000. Is it a valid contract? No, not valid. And this is yes, valid. Now students, please remember, if the object is unlawful, the consideration will also be unlawful. They go hand in hand. If the object is unlawful, consideration is also unlawful. Your agreement must not expressly be declared void. What is the meaning of void? Void means it is unenforceable by law. It is unenforceable by law. Now, void can be either void ab initio or just void. What is the meaning of void ab initio? It is void right from the beginning. What is the meaning of just void? Just void means that the contract was valid when we had entered. Then later on, due to certain circumstances, it becomes void. It is no longer enforceable. We are going to discuss this when we come to types of contracts. Now, your agreement must not expressly be declared void. Like law says, agreements in restraint of marriage, trade, legal proceedings, they are all expressly void. Law has given a small list, they are expressly void. Your agreement should not be expressly void. Okay. Next element, meaning must be certain, section 29. Now, a very common example which is also asked in the exam, X is a dealer in different kinds of oil. Okay, is a dealer in different kinds of oil. Now, he offers to sell 100 liters of oil to Y at 100 rupees per liter. Will this agreement be valid? Is this valid? It's a very commonly asked question. Not valid. Why not valid? Can I say instead of not valid, I can now write void because I know that word? Yes, I know that word. I can write void. Why is it void? Can you give me the reason? Yes, anyone? Absolutely right. It is void because the kind of oil was not specified. The kind was not specified. Okay. So because the kind was not specified, it will be a void contract. The contract must be capable, it must be possible of performance, section 56. Now tell me, will this be a valid contract? X promises to sell rice to Y. Okay, Y pays money because nobody will buy for free. Yes, it is capable of being performed. It's a valid contract. It's capable. But what if X tells Y, take 5 lakh rupees, and Y says, okay, I will bring a star from the sky? Is it possible? Is it physically possible? No, absolutely not. The contract is void. So your contract must be capable, possible of being performed. Lastly, if there are certain legal formalities, like what are the legal formalities? No, your agreement has to be in writing. It has to be attested. It has to be registered. If there are legal formalities, you will comply. Otherwise, your wish, you can even make an oral contract. Nobody's stopping you. Students, these are the essential elements of a valid contract. Just check whether you have written these properly in your workbook. You can either take a print, you can download it for free, or you can also buy it. I will send it to you. In case you don't have a printer, don't worry, the book will come to you. Okay. Next, just check whether you have written all this. Writing in your own handwriting. That's the best way to revise law. Write and practice, write and practice. All right. Okay, you're ready. Now that we have studied the essential elements, let us discuss classification of contract. Now, the first type of contract is a void contract. Oh, defined under section 2, clause J. Now, what is the meaning of void? See, void may be void ab initio, void right from the beginning. Can you think of an example? What will you write? What is the example? Can I say drug dealing? Can I say contracts to kill? Can I say contracts with minor? Yes. What is the meaning of just void? Just void means that the contract was valid when it was entered. Later on, it becomes void. Let's take an example. A promised to marry B. Now, marriage is a valid contract. Promise to marry. Before marriage, A dies. Can the contract be enforced? Can they marry? No. So it was valid when entered, but later on, due to death, it becomes void. Nothing can happen. So it's just void. Just void means it was valid when entered, later on it becomes void, unenforceable. So void is nothing but instead of unenforceable, let us write not enforceable. That will be a better word. It is not enforceable by law. What is voidable? Students, I have a separate video on voidable contracts. You can go and watch that video. I'll also leave a link. I have a separate video covering voidable contract in detail. Now, what is the meaning of voidable? Voidable means that aggrieved party has two options: keep quiet, treat the contract as valid, or cancel the contract. Okay, so he has two options: either keep quiet, treat the contract as valid, or cancel the contract. In case of coercion, you also have to write this. Coercion, yes, can you tell me when is the contract voidable? In case of coercion, yes, absolutely right. Then what else will you say? Undue influence. Then what should I write next? Don't feel, ma'am, you can't hear us. Why are you asking questions? I'm asking you questions so that your brain is forced to recollect. I don't want you to give the answers. This revision is a very different kind of revision. Here, I am not the only one who's doing the talking and writing. You are answering and writing it along with me. That is the main aim of these revision lectures. It's not a one-way traffic. I want you to be as involved as possible. What should I write next? Fraud. What should I write next? Misrepresentation. Should I write mistake? Is the spelling correct? Should I write mistake? No. Why no? Because mistake is void. Yes, you're so right. So in voidable, aggrieved party has two options: either cancel the contract or treat it as valid. If you cancel the contract, you will also have to restore the benefit. Please write this: restore the benefit. Cancellation must be within reasonable time. Okay, cancellation should be within reasonable time. Next we have illegal. Now the keyword, okay, we are highlighting the keywords. The key word in illegal is that the agreement is forbidden by law. Agreement is forbidden by law. Law does not allow these agreements. Dealing in drugs, smuggling, marriage of minor, all these are illegal contracts. Okay, instead of contract, I think it will be better if we write as agreement, because this will never become a contract. Yes or no? What is valid contract? Valid means it's enforceable by law. What is there to discuss in this? Valid means it is enforceable by law. It's enforceable. All the essential elements are present. What is unenforceable contract? Unenforceable means you can't enforce. It's not void, it's not void. There are all the elements present, but there is some technical defect. This is the key word, okay? This should be there in your answer. There is some technical defect. Like, the contract should have actually been in writing. I did not. Let's say, for example, immovable property. I want to sell immovable property. Law says the contract has to be in writing. Okay, the contract has to be in writing. It has to be registered also. Oh, but I entered into an oral agreement. Other elements are present, all the other elements, but it's not in writing. So for the time being, the contract is unenforceable. I remove the technical defect. Okay. So I remove the technical defect. Okay, I remove defect. Now the contract becomes enforceable. Okay, so there is technical defect. The contract was unenforceable. I removed the technical defect. Then the contract becomes enforceable. What is the meaning of express contract? Express means it is expressed in words. Can be oral, can be in writing. So when I use words to enter into contract, it's an express contract. Just students check whether you have written everything properly or not. Please pause the video, complete your workbook. Okay, next, just check this. Is it complete? Very good. Let us proceed. Implied contract. Implied. Implied means it is understood. Now, implied can be either implied by fact or implied by law. Tacit is not a separate kind of contract. It is just like implied by fact. Okay, now in implied by fact means you have to see the fact, circumstances of the case. Let's say a coolie. He picked up your luggage, started walking, you didn't stop him. It's implied that he's giving you services, you want to accept it, it's understood. Implied by law. Now X by mistake left goods at the house of Y. Okay, by mistake. Now Y, instead of returning the goods, he used the goods. Hello, those goods were not supposed to be with you. If you used the goods, law says you will have to pay for it. If you have used it, you will have to pay. So they never intended to enter into contract, but law says there is a contract between you two. You have used the goods, you have to pay for it. It's implied by law. What is the meaning of tacit contract? Only when you get two examples, that is auction. In this case, you have sale by fall of hammer and withdrawing cash from ATM. Okay, these are tacit contracts. It's not a separate kind of contract. So words are not used. In implied, words are not used. It is implied from action of the parties, circumstances of the case. Okay, action, conduct, you can write any word that you want, circumstances. Next we have executed or unilateral. So unilateral is not a separate classification. See, it's not a separate classification. It is a part of executed. Okay, now X participated in a pasta eating contest. The winner was going to get 10,000 rupees. Now X ate the pasta and he won the contest. Now his work is over. Okay, his job is over. Then it is the job of the organizers to pay him 10,000. Now a contract is now made with the winner. In this contract, X has already performed his obligation. Okay, X has already performed his obligation. Now only the organizers have to pay him 10,000, since only one party has to perform his promise. This is known as a unilateral contract. What is it known as? Unilateral contract, because only one party has to perform. Other party has already performed his promise. This is nothing but executed on part of X. X has already performed his part. But what if both the parties have to still perform? Okay, both have to still perform the contract. Then it is bilateral, or you can also call it as executory. It is both. You can call it anything that you want. So both have to fulfill their obligation. You can call it as bilateral. You can also call it as executory. Okay, so both have to perform. So students, with this, we come to an end of the introduction. We covered the essential elements of a valid contract, and we also revised the classification of contract. Just check whether your notes are completed. Yes, students, please check whether you have written everything properly. What about this? Have you written this? Okay, so with this, we come to an end of the first introduction part. We have revised that. In the next video, I will discuss offer and acceptance in detail. So I'll see you in the next video.